dead
forever. Are you going to admit failure?
I'm going to admit
public.
failure in public.
Failure in public.
Now, welcome to this week's edition of the Weekly Travel Alert. I'm Steve Glenn.
I'm Paul Glenn.
Paul, we're on episode 99.
99.
We're about to hit 100.
We've almost been doing this for 2 years now.
Wow, pretty close. Yeah. So this is the Weekly Traveler, sponsored by Executive Travel. You can find us on the web at executivetravel.com and on YouTube. Where can you find us on YouTube, Paul?
Spell out Executive Travel, and you can watch the prior 98 episodes. Perfect weekend binging.
That's right, man. Hey, we're having fun talking travel. This week, we've got some amazing information, Paul. I was doing research on airlines and credit cards, and what I'm about to tell you is going to blow you away.
It's much more shocking than I anticipated.
You bet. And before we do, we want to invite you to participate in our Weekly Travel Alert, an email that goes out every Tuesday at 10:30 to 100,000 people, and then you have a publication. What's it called?
The Travel Weekend Review, which we just go out and we find a handful of articles that are in the general trades that have to do with travel that we think would be of interest for our viewers.
Now we're going to go through this week's Weekly Travel Alert, and the first headline reads this, Paul. Shocking airline profits revealed. Credit cards and miles, not butts in seats, keep airlines in the black. Paul, we looked at this data, and it basically said that airlines don't make their profits flying people. They make their profits with credit cards and miles and points.
And especially as we've covered over the last 3 or 4 months, as the average airline ticket price has gone down, they're more reliant on these other revenue sources, and that's why we've also seen a lot of implementation of new fees coming into play.
Yeah, we figured the other day, I think last week we mentioned Frontier, for every $100 in ticket prices they charge you, you'll pay $160 in ancillary fees of seat assignments, checked luggage, overhead bins, everything from A to Z. And so I think all the airlines are going in that direction. Even in business class, we talked 2 or 3 weeks ago about how we think American, United, and Delta will soon launch a 2 different levels of business class, one with everything all in, like lounge
basic
access.
Business versus standard business.
Yeah, so you're going to see a lot of that. But here's the numbers. Let's look at headline number 2. U.S. airlines would be unprofitable without their loyalty promos. Let me read this to you. Delta had a 10.5% profit. It turns into a 2.5% loss without their loyalty revenue. Okay. United, 8.9% profit, turns into a 1.9% loss. American, 4.8% profit, turns into a whopping 8.3% loss. Alaska, 4.9% profit, turns into 11.4% loss. And good old Southwest at 1.2% profit for last year turns into a 19.9% loss.
So that data tells you a lot. It tells you really how much of their revenue is coming from the credit card fees. All the way, it looks like Southwest is over 20% of their revenue coming from credit card.
It's crazy.
And what United there is about 11%. So that's a wide range, but that's a significant amount of the revenue.
Have you ever wondered why when you're flying you always get a speech about, would you like to sign up for our credit card? Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That's the reason why. Hey, the fourth headline in this week's Weekly Traveler reads, look at how much revenue airlines generate from credit card partnerships. Southwest, as you mentioned, 21.1% of their revenue. Alaska, 16.3%, American, 13.1%, United, 12.9%, and Delta, 10.8%. Basically, they're not making money unless they're selling credit cards and miles, right? And then miles especially. So that's another reason why you probably get an email every once in a while that says, would you like to buy miles? We're giving you bonus miles. And so you're going to see a lot more of that in the future. Number 5 on this week's edition of the Weekly Traveler reads, when you earn or redeem points, airlines move money around on their balance sheets, turning future flights into today's profits. So, Paul, they can sell you miles, but they don't have to book them as revenue
until
they've used them.
Yeah.
So can you imagine all the liability that's out there? It must be trillions of
It
dollars.
has to be, yeah. I mean, when you think of how many miles you've got, how many miles I've got, and how many hundreds of thousands of guys are there like us, and take those numbers, that's huge.
It is basically the new 21st century currency.
I mean, if you think about it, somebody that's got 1 million miles sitting out there at a penny a mile, that's $10,000 in liability.
Yeah.
So, and how many millions and millions of miles are sitting out there?
Yeah.
You've got 10 plus million.
Well, I've got about 16 million. But I'm figuring if I can't get 2 cents out of them, I
don't use them.
And
that's why you use them for business class and your high-end travel, international.
Yeah. Okay. Number 6. Here are 2 of my long-term predictions that are now dead forever.
Are you going to admit failure?
I'm going to admit
public.
failure in public.
Failure in public.
Okay, number 1, prediction 1. The airlines will start charging a $10 fee to use credit cards to purchase an airline ticket. Well, they'll never do that if that's how they're making their money.
Yep. Nope.
Yeah.
They got to keep that.
I just didn't know all this other stuff when I made that prediction. Mm-hmm. So it was an honest prediction.
How many years was that prediction
About
on?
10. Okay, prediction number 2, and this is you and I. Southwest will stop offering their companions fly-free credit card. We thought they can't do that. But now that we know that they make 21% off of those credit cards, now we say that, hey, they're going to keep doing that.
They're going to. They have to. Yeah, I mean, that's how they get their loyalty.
Wow. All right, the last item on this week's edition of the Weekly Traveler, it says, here's the good news and bad news. Credit card companies are effectively subsidizing your trip. So when you go to see Grandma this Christmas, you should thank your credit card company because they help pay for your airline ticket. And the bad news is smaller airlines that don't have credit card programs, okay, or they have them but they don't mean much.
They don't have enough people that are on them. Yeah,
they're vulnerable to, because when you've got an airline like Southwest making 21% of their revenue from credit cards, how do you compete if you're another airline that isn't making that? So the bottom line, airlines have become financial engines fueled by loyalty, not lift. That's amazing.
I think one of the things that might be of interest to people for future podcasts would be, okay, these are all specific to airline credit cards. What's the better strategy? Do you get a generic credit card that then you can move miles to different programs, things like that? And I know that's what you and I tend to do, is outside of when we're traveling on a specific airline and getting the miles for that airline from that airline, we'll use a credit card that then you can utilize and transfer the miles to multiple carriers. So
like Amex, you can put it into like 20 different airlines, and Amex you can't put it into United, or you can't put it into American. You can put it into Delta, but Delta has the worst frequent flyer mileage
for redemption.
Yeah, it takes like 750,000 miles to redeem for a business class to Europe on Delta, when I can do it for 80,000 on Air France. One way, 160,000. So basically you can get 5 more tickets on Air France flying a really nice business class compared to Delta. So a lot of things in the frequent flyer business. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today on the Weekly Travel Alert of Executive Travel. We hope that you'll join us again next week.
Please like, subscribe, share, and add any comments or feedback on topics that would be of interest for future episodes. See you next week.